Hello students. Okay, let's recall what we already know about this concept, how to calculate field for a shell or a sphere. By the word shell I mean a hollow sphere, and the word sphere means a solid sphere. Hollow means it does not have any mass in the interior. The hollow sphere has the entire mass located at the surface, whereas the solid sphere has the mass distribution uniform throughout its volume. The mass is present everywhere. Now, how do you calculate a field in the vicinity of such mass distributions? We know how to calculate the field at any point exterior to the distribution or on the surface, or for any point which is in the interior of the distribution. Now, for spherical mass distributions, whether it is a shell or a solid sphere, we know that to calculate field at any point outside the distribution, we can consider the entire mass to be located at the center. But there is one important condition that has to be met here. The density must be of same value throughout the volume, which means it is a uniform mass distribution, or it may possess spherical symmetry. Let us discuss about uniform mass distribution in detail now. I will discuss about spherical symmetry in detail after a while. So, let us visualize what I said just now. Here I am showing a shell and a sphere. You can see that for this shell, the density is constant throughout its volume. Of course, the mass present here is completely located at the surface, but even that is distributed uniformly everywhere. Now, such a spherical distribution, the shell here can be treated as a point mass m, which is located at the center, and the position vector r bar is drawn always from the center to the given point where we need to calculate the field. Same is the case with the sphere. If the spherical mass distributions, the solid sphere is having a constant density everywhere, it has a uniform mass distribution. Now, it can be considered as a point mass located at the center C. But let us look at these figures. Now, what do I show here? This is a shell. It has a mass capital M and radius r, just like this shell, but it has a different distribution on its surface. In one part the density is of one value, in the other part is the density is of different value. Now, such a distribution is not uniform. Now, if you consider the mass to be present at the center, just like we did in the earlier case, it will give you a wrong result. It is incorrect assumption. You cannot use this. Same is the case with the solid sphere. If it has a non-uniform mass distribution throughout its volume, you cannot consider it as a point mass at the center. This is wrong. You cannot use this. It gives you wrong results. So, we can reduce the shell or the sphere to point masses only when the distribution is uniform, or when it possesses spherical symmetry, we can do that. So, once we reduce them to point masses, we know how to calculate the field due to a point mass at a given point. What is the equation? Gm by r square, where r is the distance between the point mass and the given point where you need to calculate the field. But if you just write Gm by r square, it is an incomplete value, because we know the field is a vector. You should always give field in terms of both magnitude and direction. You should mention both magnitude and direction. Now, what will be the direction of the field at such a point? Gravitational fields always, they are directed towards the mass which is producing them. So, if this point mass creates a field around it, that field is pointed towards the mass. So, even at this point z, the field will be directed towards the mass. So, if r bar is the position vector drawn from the given mass to point z, now you can have the unit vector for that direction r cap. Now what will be the direction of field opposite to that r cap? So we can write it as minus r cap. So that's why we have minus r cap sign here. So now this is a complete answer. We have both magnitude and the direction. Same is the case with sphere. This can also be reduced to a point mass. So the field can be written as gm by r square and directed towards the mass, which is represented by this minus r cap sign. Now the field at a point y, which is on the sphere or the shell, on the surface of the shell or sphere. So now the position vector, I have changed it to capital R, where the capital R bar magnitude will be the radius. Now still you can reduce the shell or the sphere to point masses. So the field can be given by gm by r square, but r will be capital R now. This is the radius of the spherical distribution, and you can give the direction using minus r cap here. So this will be field at y. Similarly, you can write the field for the y which is on the solid sphere also. It is given by gm by r square directed inwards, that is given by minus r cap sign. Now what do we know about field at any interior point? For a shell, whether it is thin shell or a thick shell, the field will be 0 in the interior. Again, one important condition is that it should have a uniform mass distribution or spherical symmetry. Only in such a case you can safely say that the field will be 0 in the interior at any point. Here I am showing a point x, it can be anywhere in the interior, and now the field at any such point will be 0. Same is the case with a thick shell. So let us discuss about the field at an interior point within the shell, represented by the point x here. C is the center. Now we are talking about a solid sphere. It has the mass distributed throughout its volume, and let us say it has a uniform mass distribution. Now to calculate field at such a point, we need to recall an important point in gravitation, that is principle of superposition. What does the principle of superposition say? If you have to calculate the field at any point in the vicinity of several masses, you need to calculate the fields produced by individual masses, and if you take the vector sum of all those fields, that will give you the resultant field at that particular point. So to obtain the resultant field, you need to add up all the fields produced by different masses in the vicinity in vectors. You should take a vector sum. So here I have shown several objects 1, 2, 3, 4. Their masses are m1, m2, m3, m4. Now you want to calculate the field at point P. How do you calculate it? First you have to calculate the field due to mass 1, mass 2, mass 3, mass 4. You will have 4 vectors, and you have to add all those 4 vectors to obtain the resultant field. Now let us apply this principle of superposition in a simple scenario where you have 2 masses m1 and m2 here. I want to calculate the field at any point, let us call it P, which is present on the line joining these 2 masses. A very simple case. Now if you draw the position vectors from the masses to the given point, I have r1 bar here and r2 bar here. They are always drawn from the mass which is creating the field to the point where you need to calculate the field. Now what do we do here? First you have to calculate the field due to individual masses. I can write E1 as, what is its magnitude? G m1 by r1 square, and its direction is minus r1 cap. Now what about the field produced by second object? It is G m2 by R2 square minus R2 cap. Okay. To reduce this even further, let us see if this is true. R1 cap and R2 cap are the unit vectors for the position vectors R1 bar and R2 bar. Now they have the same direction, so I can write R1 cap as R2 cap, and let us say that is equal to some R cap. Now you can reduce these equations to this equation, where you have same unit vector being multiplied to the magnitude. The field produced by both masses at point P, the field due to 1 and field due to 2, both are directed towards left here. They are always directed towards the masses. The gravitational field is always directed towards the mass, inwards. There is a gravitational pull. So the direction here now becomes minus R cap and minus R cap. Now what do we need to do to calculate the resultant field? The EP, now it is given by adding these two vectors. So minus R cap is the same thing, so I can write it as G1 GM1 R1 square plus GM2 R2 square in the direction minus R cap. And note this point, the field direction is minus R cap here. So let us apply principle of superposition to calculate the field at x. Now what do we do here? To calculate the field at x, I am dividing this solid sphere into two regions by visualizing an imaginary boundary S drawn which is touching the point x. So this splits the entire region into two regions, 1 and 2 marked here. Now to calculate the field at x due to the solid sphere, we can calculate the field due to 1 and field due to 2 and then add them vectorially. That is the idea of superposition. So now it results in two objects. This spherical boundary divides the entire mass into two objects. One is a thick shell, the second object which is present around a sphere, solid sphere. The interior is having a mass m1, say m1 and r1 will be the mass and radius of the new sphere which is formed here. Now the field at x is given by Ex, which is obtained by adding E1 and E2. But since this object 2 is a thick shell, now we know this point x is in the interior of that thick shell, so the field will be 0. So E2 will be 0 here. All you need to do is calculate the field due to the solid sphere which is present within the spherical boundary. So this point x now becomes the point which is on the surface of the solid sphere. So what can we do here? We can reduce the mass into a point mass again, because it is a point on the surface. So how do we write the field here? It is Gm by r square, but m is m1 here, the mass which is present within the spherical region, and radius, let us say, write it as r1 square. This is the magnitude of the field, Gm1 by r1 square, and the direction is minus r1 cap. So this is the field at x, and the field due to the thick shell formed will be 0. All you need to do is calculate the field produced by only that mass which is present within the boundary. So let us calculate this. You have to focus here. there are chances that you may make a mistake here. This m1 is different from the total mass capital M which is given for the body. M is the mass of entire object. This m1 is only a fraction of the mass of the entire object m. So, how do you calculate this mass? You can use this relation. Mass is given by density into volume. So, let us say the density of this object is rho, and if you want to calculate the mass of any portion of volume V, you can write m as rho into V, density into volume. So, I want to calculate m1 here, it is density. Density you can write it as m by 4 by 3 pi r cube, where capital M is the mass of the object and volume V is here the volume of the entire object. Now, that will give you the density, mass per unit volume, into the required volume B is only the volume of the interior portion, which is bounded by the radius x. So, it is 4 by 3 pi x cube. What did I do here? I am multiplying density with the volume for which I want to calculate the mass. So, that volume is 4 by 3 pi x cube, this region. So, now this becomes x cube by r cube into capital M. Now, you should substitute this value for m1. So, Ex is now given by g m x cube by r cube by x square in minus x direction. Do not be confused here. Here R1 is the radius of the interior portion. So, that is nothing but x. So, I am replacing this R1 with the x and I have just substituted mass. So, what will you get here? Gm x by r cube in the direction minus r cap. So, finally, we obtained this equation. The field at x is given by gmx by r cube directed inwards. This minus x cap is giving you the direction. It is a very important relation. You have to keep these things in mind. So, let us look at the graphs. The graphs drawn are field versus the position, and these are for shell and these are for sphere. Now, notice the variable which I have used here, it is E, and the second graph I have used the magnitude of E, which is the absolute value of E. Since we have negative signs for the field here, to make them positive, I took absolute value. This gives the magnitude of the field. So, you need to make some important observations here. We already know that the shell has 0 field in the interior. So, for all the points which are less than capital R, the field will be 0. The magnitude of field will be the greatest value at R equals the capital R, which is the surface of the shell. So, that is given by this graph. You can see the magnitude is highest at this point, where small r is equal to capital R, and the value is the highest value of the field is gm by r square, and then it decreases as r increases. As you move further away from the shell, from the surface to infinity, the field decreases and it varies as inversely proportional to r square. So it decreases as you go to infinity. Now let us look at the field due to sphere. The magnitude of the field is given by this graph. You can see that the field is not 0 when smaller is less than capital R. That means in the interior of the solid sphere, the field is not 0, just like not like the shell, but it is proportional to small r, the radius. You have to note it. E is proportional to small r for the region r less than capital R within this sphere. And now as you see, it is proportional to r, so as r increases, the field increases proportionally. It reaches a maximum value which you will obtain at small r equals capital R, and that will be Gm by r square. And then away from the surface, now as you move to infinity, the field drops, and that is given by Gm by r square. The same law applies for the shell and the sphere for all those points which are outside. So this also then varies inversely as r square for all the points r to infinity. So I have noted some observations here. The magnitude is 0 at center. You can substitute smaller 0 here, you get 0. And then the field increases proportionally. Magnitude increases as proportionally with radius. And the third point, magnitude decreases again. It reaches a maximum value Gm by r square, and then it decreases again. See, by understanding the second graph, you can observe that the magnitude is nothing but the strength of the field. So the gravitational pull for any such spherical distribution will be the strongest at the surface, and for shell it will be 0 in the interior, but for the sphere there will be some field present. It will be proportional to small r, and for all the points which are outside the spherical distributions, the field decreases and it will be the highest value at the surface. Keep these things in mind. So we will solve a problem now which is based on the principle of superposition, and it is a previous JEE question given in 2019 January. The question is like this: a solid sphere of mass capital M and radius small a is surrounded by a uniform concentric spherical shell of thickness 2a and mass 2m. The gravitational field at distance 3a from the center will be. Now, whenever you see the question, the first thing that comes to mind is the visual, the figure. You need to draw the figure first, a rough sketch. So just read the question and try to draw a rough sketch. That will help you. So he is talking about a solid sphere of mass capital M and radius a. So I will draw a sphere here with mass m, radius a, let's say. Mark all the necessary details. Now it is said it is surrounded by a uniform concentric spherical shell. Notice this point, uniform concentric spherical shell. Concentric implies they both have same centers. So I need to draw a shell which is surrounding this sphere, and this shell has thickness 2a. Read the question very, very carefully. Now the thickness 2a, which means what will be the radius of this outer surface? A plus 2a, this will give you 3a. So this shell now extends up to 3a, and it has mass 2m. Only this portion, the shell portion, has mass 2m. the interior is of mass capital M. This is how you need to draw the figure first. Chances are that if you draw the figure, your mind frees up and you may get an idea easily in a short time to solve the problem. Having the figure in one portion and thinking about the problem in another portion, visualizing all these things will be difficult. So, if possible, always try to draw a rough sketch for solving physics problems particularly. So, I have underlined this thing here. We have uniform concentric spherical shell. That means the mass distribution is uniform for the shell and the mass distribution is uniform for the sphere as well. Now, to calculate the gravitational field at a distance 3a from the center will be from the center at a distance 3a. So, that point will lie on the outer surface. Let us mark the point here, point P. It is at a distance 3a from the center. Now, let us recall what we have seen earlier, the principle of superposition and the fields due to shells and spheres. Whenever you see a point that is on the shell or outside the shell, just think about it. If the mass distribution is uniform, you can reduce them to point masses. So, that is the key point to solve this problem. Because the point lies on the surface of the thick shell, it is like an exterior point. The shell can be reduced to a point mass located at the center. You can consider the entire mass of the shell being present at the center. And also for the mass capital M, which is the solid sphere here, this point P is an outside point and it is having a uniform mass distribution as well. So, this mass can also be considered to be located at the center. So, you have to reduce the figure now to this. There is a center C where there are 2 point masses, capital M and as well as 2m, and the point P is at a distance 3a from both. Now, our problem is simple. All we need to do is calculate the field due to these 2 point masses at capital P. So, that will be Gm by 3a square plus G2m by 3a square. Why did I add both equations? Because the field at point P due to these masses is directed towards the masses. They have same direction. So, whenever you see the field due to several masses being in the same direction, you can just add the magnitudes. You do not have to worry about the direction, they have same direction. So, anyway you are doing the vector sum here, they are both directed towards the masses, they have same direction. So, E will be Gm by r square plus Gm by r square. This gives you the magnitude of the field. So, if you take Gm by a square common here, it is 1 by 9 plus 2m. So, this gives you Gm by 3a square. So, that will be the answer. Okay students, let us discuss a problem now. Here I have a mass distribution, solid sphere. Now the question is given like this, it has a density rho given by rho naught into small r. Small r is the radius, radial distance, not the radius, small r is the radial distance. What do you understand from this? If the density is given as a function of the radial distance, you should understand that it is not a constant, it is varying with the small r. Now, the density is not uniform here. Okay. Now, you want to calculate field at an exterior point z, which is at a distance 2r, Cz is 2r. Now to calculate field at that point, it will be easy if you can reduce it to a point mass, but to reduce it to a point mass, some condition has to be met. That means we have seen earlier, it should have a uniform mass distribution or it may possess spherical symmetry. Now this does not have a uniform mass distribution, but it has spherical symmetry. Now let us understand what spherical symmetry means. Spherical symmetry means that from the center and away from the center, if you point towards infinity, you draw a ray and you move along that ray, whatever changes you see in any property, if that is same in any direction, we can say that it has a spherical symmetry. Here the density is varying, it is increasing with the distance, radial distance. As you move away from the center, it is increasing, but that increase in density will be the same if you go in any direction away from the center. It may be any direction away from the center, it will have the same property, the variation in density is same. So that means it has a spherical symmetry. So even in such case, we can reduce it to a point mass. So I have written something here, let us take a look. To calculate field at Z, now the entire mass can be considered to be located at center. Reason why is it so? Given point is outside. First thing, the point is outside, so you can safely take this entire mass to be at its center. And also if it meets this necessary condition, it has spherical symmetry here. So we can do this. Now I have reduced it to a point mass m located at capital C, its center. It is at a distance 2r from the given point where you need to calculate the field. So Ez can be given by gm by r square, gm by 2r whole square, and of course the direction is given by minus r cap. That represents the field is directed inwards towards the center. Now let us calculate what the magnitude of field is. You cannot leave the answer in this form because capital M here is our assumption. In the question it is not mentioned. Okay. The capital M here is the mass of entire object, which is not given in the question. All that is given is the density information. So you have to reduce this answer where it has the variables rho naught or capital R. Capital R is given, radius of the sphere. So let us calculate the field. Ez is gm by 2r whole square. I am leaving the direction for now. Now what is mass? How do you calculate this capital M? If the density was constant, the mass can be given by density into volume simply. But in this case, if you directly apply this, this gives you wrong result. It is wrong. You cannot use this because the density is not a constant value here. Density is a function of radial distance, small r. So in that case, you should go with this equation. The density is always given by mass per unit volume. So dm is equal to rho dV. You can use this equation. Now you want to calculate the mass of entire object. So to calculate the mass, now we will break it into imaginary shells. Thin shells. You can break the entire solid into several thin shells and you can add the individual masses. We know the process of integration. So we will do that. Let us say we have a shell at a distance small r and its thickness is dr. Now how do you find the volume of this shell? It is 4 pi r square into dr. Now how do you get the mass of this elemental shell? This is rho into the volume. Now use the density equation here. Rho is actually rho naught into small r, 4 pi r square dr. Now this is the mass of the shell. If you want to calculate the entire mass of the solid, now you have to integrate it, and the limits would be from 0 to capital R. Our integration variable is radius here. So, if you want to add up the mass of all shells, you have to change your radius from 0 to capital R. So, I will integrate this. M is now given by integral dm from 0 to R. So, it is integral rho naught 4 pi r cube dr from 0 to capital R. Integral of r cube is r power 4 by 4. So, rho 4 pi, we can take the constants outside, and this is r power 4 by 4. Apply the limits 0 to r. Now, this gives you 4 pi rho naught r power 4 by 4, that is pi rho naught r power 4. So, now you have calculated to the mass, we can substitute it in the equation for the field. So, our field Ez is now G m is pi rho naught r power 4 by 4 r square. So, this gives you pi rho naught G r square by 4. So, this is the field at the given point Z due to this spherical mass distribution. There are few important things to note here. First thing, do not make this mistake. Think, take a pause and think about the question. The density is not constant, so you cannot use this equation. And also, you can reduce it to point mass only if you find the spherical symmetry. How do you find spherical symmetry? For example, if the equation for density is given in terms of R, most of the cases it will be spherically symmetric, because it is depending on radius but not the direction. In any direction it will have the same change. So, it must be spherically symmetric. So, whenever the density is given as a function of radial distance r, you can safely assume that the distribution is spherically symmetric. And if the point is outside, just reduce the mass to point mass and calculate the field accordingly. So, let us calculate field at an interior point now. For the same mass distribution, I have picked a point x which is at a distance capital R by 2, Cx is capital R by 2. Now, to calculate field at this point, you can divide the object into two regions. At the point x with Cx as radius, you can imagine and you can create an imaginary boundary which divides the solid sphere into two regions. One is a solid sphere and another a concentric, thick concentric shell which is outside. What is the advantage in doing so? Because if you divide this into two regions, now using superposition you can write field at x as E due to 1 and E due to 2 added vectorially. The vector sum of field due to the first object and field due to the second object. But now the x is an interior point for the thick shell. So, the E2 will be 0. You do not have to worry about the mass distribution. Now, we have already discussed it is spherically symmetric. So, whenever it is spherically symmetric, even for the thick concentric shell at any interior point the field will be 0. So, you do not have to calculate this. All we need to calculate is field due to the first region. Ex is now just E1 bar. How do you calculate the field due to this? Now, all we left with is this solid sphere, a solid spherical region, and the point x is now on the surface of the solid sphere. So, you can again reduce it to a point mass just like we did in the earlier case. So, if its mass is, let us say its mass is m1. Now, how do you write the field? G m, but m is m1 here, m1 by r square, and r is the distance r by 2. Its radius is r by 2. We have taken Cx to be r by 2. So, this is the field due to first object, the magnitude.
So how do you calculate the mass of this portion? Again, you have to use the density equation. So again, you have to imagine thin concentric shells and add the masses of individual elemental concentric shells, just like we did in the previous case. So it will be integral dm, mi can be obtained like this, integral dm, and the shells, now the radius of the shells, it varies from 0 to r by 2, the limits change here, and dm can be written as density into volume. Density is rho naught into, okay, let us write this first, density into dV, 0 to r by 2. This is rho naught into r into 4 pi r square dr from 0 to r by 2. This gives you rho naught 4 pi constants, integral of r cube is r power 4 by 4, and you substitute the limits. So it will be r by 2 power 4 by r by 4 minus 0. So you will get rho naught 4 pi r power 4 by 4 cancels out here by 16. Now this is the mass which is located within the imaginary sphere we have created. Only that mass will exert the field there. So the equation for field will be G, substitute m rho naught pi r power 4 by 16 by r square by 4. So this gives you G rho naught pi, let us write it like this, pi rho naught G r square by 4. So this is our answer. The field at x is pi rho naught G r square by 4.